Hey, my name is Razorian Buck, and I'm back with Eric Chien's Imagination Coin Video Breakdown Part 2. Whew, quite a sentence. Last week in Part 1 we broke down Eric Chien's coin palming, sleight of hand, and coin vanishing techniques. And this week we're going to be checking out how he turns a drawing of a circle into a coin. And at the end of the trick, he turns a whole bunch of coins into drawings. The first Eric Chien video I did got a lot of dislikes because I implied that the performance might have been fake, and it clearly is not fake. However, the majority of people through the comment section on my video seem to feel that it is possible the video was edited after the fact. And you gotta remember, when you're in the audience and you're 30 feet away, it's easier to hide the imperfections of a magic trick. But when you got a camera on you that's 6 feet away, that stuff can show up on video. This is a reality show that they're going to be putting out on television to millions of people, and if you can clearly see what's going on in the magic trick, then it's not that impressive, and the name of the game is to impress people, to get more viewers. So maybe the video was doctored after the fact, or maybe it wasn't. It could have been just a bunch of blurry mess that I was looking at. Could have been that too. I don't know. I was just throwing out guesses. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's in on the trick. I'm not saying that the people in the audience are in on it. However, for example, in this performance right here, we have a bunch of coins on the table. We have a pen and a card, and he gets up, and only seconds later he goes back to the table, and now they're all drawings. Now something happened there, and I don't know what happened there. For example, this guy here in the corner, he clearly could have seen what was going on with the table out of the corner of his eye. You can see Eric Chien is not covering the table from this guy, or probably the guy on the other side of the stage. So we're led to believe that not a single person in this entire crowd saw what happened to the table behind him. And then here he walks off stage, and he's greeted by two people that watched the entire performance from behind the stage. I'm sure they could have seen exactly how he did the trick. And if we step over here, we got two other people way off on the other side of the stage here, which could have clearly seen what happened. And then you gotta realize there's about 8 cameras in this show, and one of those cameras would have had to pick up what happened on that table. But they're not gonna play that on television. But somewhere through all these different camera angles, somebody must have filmed what happened to that table, and somebody in the background must have seen what happened. Not this guy though, he was sleeping during the entire thing. Watch this. Huh? What did I miss? I wasn't sleeping. Okay, so going back to the beginning of the trick here, I'm not going to be pulling too much from this video, 'cause it's more of like a promotional video, and they could have done it like 1,000 times till they got the take that they wanted, and his friend's probably the camera guy, and he knows where to pan up and pan away from, and what to focus on, and so there's just not too much I can get out of this video. There's a few things that we'll go over, but anyways, let's start with this circle here. So here he pulls the circle off and exposes the coin, and at first I thought this might have been a piece of paper or something, but it's not. It's just a part of his sleeve, and you can still see the circle a little bit right there, but overall there's not a lot we can tell from this video. However, this performance here, I don't believe he's actually writing a circle on the card. I believe that this pen is probably fake, and this is why. If you notice there, it looks like he's pushing something onto the card. And here we have him pulling away the circle again. But there's just not enough here to figure out exactly what's going on. It is kind of clear that this circle isn't attached though, because if you rewind you can see he's holding it at all times. So then when he goes to pull it away, it just slides right off. So when he pulls the circle away in this video, you can see that the center also has white in it because it's coming right off the card, but also you can see the coin coming out from behind the card over here. So in this performance, he's about to write on the card and he lifts the card up and we can actually see the coin underneath the card. I'll zoom in even more for you. Right there. So unfortunately that's all I have for the beginning of the trick, and then we get into the sleight of hand and the coin palming, which I covered in the first video, and then we move on to this part here where he turns no coins into a whole bunch of coins. So let's get into that. So I really do get the feeling that this kind of promo video, I don't want to say it's necessarily fake, but it has been edited very professionally. The camera guy definitely knew where to focus the view, and there's definitely lighting in this room, like professional lighting, and there's just some things that just don't seem feasible. Like here we can clearly see that there's nothing in his hands, and if we move forward, there's nothing in his hand. Then he shows both palms. So the only time he could have got these coins is when he's lifting up his sleeves. So he reaches his hand up, and now it's out of the camera's view, and then it comes back. If the coins are behind his hand, then maybe he does some sort of reach around right there. But one thing to notice is these coins. These are very thick, normal, regular coins. But when he does it live, he uses these thin paper-like coins. Then here's the other performance. So in all the different videos, I actually counted up all the coins. I'm not sure how much it matters, but here we have 19 coins. And in this performance here, it looks like there's 17 coins. And in this video, it looks like there's 18 coins. But then if you look at the drawing after, this one here has 21 coins. So it definitely isn't like ink on the coins or anything like that. This one has 20 circles, and this last performance has 26 coins. So the next thing we need to talk about is the table, and in the promotional video here you can see he's using what looks like a big giant sheet of paper, and you can see it folding up here on the side, and it folds up on the other side here too, as you can see. Which is important, because when we get to the end of the trick, you'll notice right there that it's not the same sheet of paper. This one looks taped to the table. It's straight and flat. So this leads me to believe that there was another sheet on the table and it somehow got pulled away, and I believe the cameraman did this, and I'm sorry if you don't believe that, but I mean, I don't see how an entire sheet of paper could have just came off the table, especially because it obviously didn't come off this way towards his stomach because he's in the way, and the cameraman is on the other side of the table. So this is his table here that he created to do this trick live, and there's something important to notice here, that there's no back on this table. It's actually open. I am guessing that the paper comes off that way. at least in a live performance. So I believe that has something very important to do with this trick, to slide paper in and out, and then probably down and into the table. And here we have the sheet of paper with the drawings on it, and if you look over here, you'll notice something. The sheet of paper comes up, and then there's a big bump here. And I believe that bump is there because this pen is actually underneath this piece of paper. On the promotional video though, you can see that the coins are all gone, but the pen is actually still here on the table. Now, I don't know if that actually means anything. It's just something I thought I'd point out. But when all the coins and the pen and the card disappear in this video, it doesn't look like we have that same lump. But this trick is a little bit different than the other ones. And he pulls the cloth out. You can see the table behind him. It looks completely blank. So I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on how this was done. I thought maybe, hey, if there was like black ink that somehow came out of the table, you wouldn't see the black ink on the black fabric here, but maybe it would come through and get pressed onto this. But that doesn't explain the pen disappearing or the card, so or the coins. Now I have studied this entire video. I've studied the background, I've studied this, whatever this is here. I studied these lights, the buttons, just to see, if there is any imagery shining off with all the lights, but I can't find anything. I even looked from this angle to see if we could see a bit of his table, but there's nothing here. They covered their tracks very well. So here he puts the coin in her hand, and then it disappears, and there's a little circle there. There's a few things to note. First of all, he does not touch the bottom of the coin with his hands. He holds it this way the entire time, probably so he doesn't get any ink on his own fingers. Now he puts it in her hand, and you'll notice he actually pushes it down onto her hand. As he waves his hands over hers, her hand actually moves. It gets pushed down. Is it possible, do you think, that maybe he quickly pushed his hand down and somehow palmed the coin out of her hand? To me that seems like, that would be so difficult to do, but I can't figure out, how he would get the coin out of her hand into his hand, unless it has something to do with magnets. But I've researched the footage and I don't see anything. Like, I thought maybe he'd have a ring or something, but there's no ring or anything on his hands. So he does pause there for like a split second too. However, right there you can see the coin in his hand. So he did get the coin. I just don't know how. You can't see, it's just a bunch of pixels. But the coin is definitely in his hand. So from here he has the coin in his hand, and he goes to show them the table, and I believe he just takes the coin, probably puts it in his pocket somewhere right there. So there are a few things that I researched where I didn't find anything. I'm just going to let you know what those are so I can save you the trouble of researching them yourself. The first thing here is I researched a reflection off the lights on the table and off the buttons, and I didn't find anything that exposes anything about the trick. I studied the background and this black thing here, and at one point in the video it looks like it moved, which would have been an indication that the video was cut up and filmed at different times. However, it was just a point of perspective and it never actually moves. And when he pulls up the cloth here, it looks like there is some string attached. However, I believe that's just the fabric. tearing away at the seams as fabric does. So I don't believe that has anything to do with the trick. There is a point in the video here where you can see the stool he's sitting on, but that doesn't reveal anything in the trick. There are some little white dots here on the edge of the table, and when the table turns into a bunch of drawings, those white dots disappear. However, I have no proof that that does anything at all. And in this trick here, you can tell that this special table he uses is definitely different than the one he uses in his other performance. And here's some water bottles, and they never move during the entire trick. However, the most important thing that I noticed in this entire video is that this guy did not tie his shoelaces, which is very important because he could trip and fall and hurt himself. So unfortunately, that's all I really have for you. I don't have the answer to how this was done. All I can show you is the little tiny things that I noticed when I was investigating these videos. So I hope it helps you. If there's something I missed, let me know. If there's something you figured out because of this video, definitely let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have not yet, and I will see you again on another video very soon. Alright, peace.